lecture. I will lecture. You not see the slide, no problem. But after that, I will forward everything to you. Okay. Now, as I was
Okay.
saying, we are grateful to the one who assisted me when I was trying to address the H. Okay, thank you very much. Now, as I said, every West African politics, our own about West Africa are crucial to us. And so, of course, we want to look at the early West African policies, which were part of the classical civilization that emerged. And Africans, we are proud because, of course, we can base on some of these civilizations to even dispel the notion by some Eurocentric writers that Africa did not have history before our contact or interaction with the Europeans. Okay, so that is what. Now let's look at the course description as I was taking you through. We're going to read the course outline first, and so here, so the course provides you or students with an understanding of state formation in West Africa. So we have seen West African countries states, but grew and became so complex and hence civilization. So we have to take you through that. Okay. Yeah, and these cultures and politics so we also trace how they rose to power, how they were administered, and how they collapsed or disintegrated. Like human being, every human being, you rise and you fall. So rise and fall, rise and fall. That is what the story of human beings so has been the civilizations or the culture that grew or that developed into civilization also fell or disintegrated. So the course also discusses the origins, growth, and decline of the trans-Saharan trade. One important trade that you need to look at that did the trick, especially in relation to the growth of West African politics, the trans-Saharan trade. So we look at that, the factors that motivated the European exploration of West Africa. So why did the Europeans come to West Africa? We have to also look at that. And again, the consequences of the contact with Europe on West Africa. So the contact that we had with the Europeans, what we need to look at the ramifications or another with the consequences of that.
Hey.
Hello, Charles. Can they mute? Okay, so yeah, we shall look at the consequences of the contact with Europe and yeah, that had on West Africa and the transatlantic trade, the trade that would later develop into trade in human beings, of course. So look at that one, the transatlantic trade. Now, at the end of the course, we expect that let's look at the objectives, course objectives. We expect that you should be able to examine the Eurocentric views about pre-colonial West Africa. So Eurocentric views, the Europeans, what did they say about Africa? What were their views? So you should be able to examine the Eurocentric views about pre-colonial West Africa, and then again form your own viewpoints about the cultures and civilizations of West African past. Then you have to be able to relate West African past to its present. That's the most important thing. The most important reason for studying history is to understand the present. In fact, we study the past to have an insight into what happened, what took place in the past, so that we can understand the present. We are actually interested in the present, things happening now and now. Okay, so we are saying that at the end of the course, we expect that those of you who are doing early West African politics will be able to relate the West African past to its present. And again, we should be able to discuss the benefits of studying the early West African politics. Why is that? We have to understand ancient Ghana, for example. Why do we have to understand Mali and the things that went, the rulers and things? Why do you have to understand the Susu? Yeah, the Songhai. Why do you have to understand the Songhai? The Kanimboni people and also and so on and so forth. The politics, we have to look at that. But before that, we have to have an idea about the West African people. Now, okay, so these are the objectives. So what are the contents? In other words, the topic that we are going to discuss as far as this course is concerned. One, because these polities were civilizations, we have to at least revise what is meant by civilization. So let's look at characteristics of civilization. At those of you who did 110, we look at civilization, where civilization. But this one, we're going to look at characteristics of civilization. So that you appreciate these West African polities, the extent to which they became civilized. Okay. Then after that, so that is going to be very short and overview. We are not going to waste time. We're not going to do extensively on that since we've done it before. Okay. Then we'll look at documents for studying or for the study of early West African history. So if you want to have an insight into early West African history, what documents are available? What documents are there that we can study it? So we need to look at that. And then, so okay, so look at the land and people of West Africa, the land and people of West Africa. So we have to look at the land and people of West Africa. That is very important. So the land and the people. So which land did they settle? Have an idea about the land and the people. Okay, look at that. Then we'll look at the civilizations that emerged. In other words, the polities, where because of time, you can't look at all. So we'll just use Ghana, Mali, and Songhai as an example to look at the polities and okay, so we dwell on Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. Then the trans-Saharan trade and introduction of Islam in West Africa. So, okay, how did the trans-Saharan trade contribute to the growth of the early West African polities and the Islam that was introduced in West Africa? How did it also contribute? So we look at that, and then, as I say, look at the coming of the Europeans, and then the trade with the West Africans changing to trade in human beings. That is the slave trade. Look at that. As usual, assessment, you write one quiz, two quizzes, start two quizzes 2020, and then some exams which will be system maths. There are a lot of works available that you can read to supplement the lecture slides that I will give you. In other words, lecture notes. So you have Francis Abudika, The Rise of Nation States, A History of the West African Peoples, 1800 to 1964. That is a very good book. And Ajayi J.F. Adi and Aspa edited. They edited 1,000 Years of West African History, published in Ibadan. A very good work. Then we have Adi Ajayi and Michael Crowder, West Africa, Volume 1, which is good. Then a lot of works are available. The African by Bach Anthony. And then we have Adubu Ahin's work with J.F. Adi Ajayi and Michael Tidy. And that work is good. That is Topics in West Africa, Topics in West African History. Then Bassett Davidson's with the African Past. And then another work of Davidson with Boa, The Growth of African Civilizations, A History of West Africa, 1,000 to 1,800. Since we are doing 1,000 to 1,005, and even this work covers up to say 1,800, it's going to be very helpful. There are a lot of work. Professor Fage has A History of West Africa, which is also very good. And then Toyin Ferrura, even last year, he came to the Department of History, UCC, to present something, and even at Legon too. He has African historiography, and it's a very good work. And then Elizabeth Ichill has a work, History of West Africa, since 1800, and other works, including Lord Lugar's work, The Dual Mandate in British Tropical West Africa, and other. In fact, let me mention this one, Trimingham, V.S. Trimingham, A History of Islam in West Africa. It's also very good. That I think we can, all of us can dwell on that. Okay, so any questions so far on the course outline?
No, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
So
please.
I was asking you questions
That's
on
me.
what I've said so far before I proceed.
Uh, Say, you made mention that the civilization, some of us have already discussed it during our previous courses, so it will be brief. But some of us are doing social studies and we didn't do civilization. So when it get there, if you say to
Okay,
me, okay,
yeah. So
yeah.
that is not the focus of the course so far, but I'll just chip in because we are supposed to look at documents for studying West African history, and then even what do you call it, the land and people. That's what we have to start for. But I feel that because we study people haven't done civilization before, and we're going to look at these politics, which were civilizations. It's better that I give you a summary of it. Had not been because of social study people, I wouldn't even touch on civilization at all because the other group they have done it. Are you okay?
Yes, please say. Thank you.
So it's because of you that I'm going to give the overview. Otherwise, it shouldn't be part of the topics I'm going to discuss with you for this course. Okay. Yeah. Any other question, please? Okay. So can I move on?
Yes,
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 please.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Yeah. So I need some social studies people who are here. So the one who asked the question, is it the social or whatever? Uh so that where do you come from? Yeah, the social studies person who asked the question, the lady, Chris, where do you come from?
says at Koforidua Center.
No, no, I want to know where you come from. Whether you are Acham, you are Asante, you are Ewe, you are Ga, Adangwe. Where do you come from? The late, yeah, the one who asked the question that the social studies people didn't do civilization. Can I get the person back to answer my question?
She's an Ewe.
Okay. So can you share with us some of your culture, the Ewe people? What I mean is that we want you to tell us, for example, the food that you people eat, the Ewe eat, their language, their festival, and any other thing that you want to, their dance, their dress, mode of dressing, all these are their culture. So we want you to share with us briefly anything that you want to tell us as far as the culture of the Ewe. We say I'm not saying airways, but I will say airway and I will say ah. Me, I don't like. So when you are writing essays for me, you say the airways are. I'm not happy. I will underline it. So you say the airway are. So let me tell you from the beginning. Say they are can are. They are sante where or are. If you want to use the present, you say the past. They are sante where. So I wouldn't say they are sante was. I wouldn't use this. I will use it in singular sense. I will use it in plural sense, and I will not add the s to it. That is me. So it's not that you have to add the s to say the airways are. No, the airway are. So I've just informed you so that when you are anytime, especially in the exams where you write essays, you write at least two essays and do small sample. That is a session A and session B. The session B will be essays. And that one I expect that you will not write airways and asantes and achems. No, I don't like that. Okay. So can we hear you? Patience, can you tell us?
Okay, thank you, say. Um, there's some elements of the Ewe culture. I know the food is normally the akple and the fetri. Some people too deal with the they call it the agbame where you grind pepper with whatever and then you add the abobi.
Ademe,
Or
Ademe.
yes, so the fetri dechi ademe inside and all this stuff. Then with festivals too, um, some do with the Wagbechocho, others Tedudu, and then I think there are many more popular dances too. That Agbaja is the most popular, and I think from my area, yes, I know of the Agbaja. Others from other areas may have varieties too. So basically, these are a few things related to our culture. Our dress code, we also have the kente, we call it the kete, which we use. So mostly the women will do the kaba and slits, whether in the kete or they will use the normal print, and then they will have a portion of the kente wrapped around their waist. For the men, they do the jumper and the top and those stuff. So I think depending on the area, there are varieties, but basically these are the little I can share.
Okay, Patience, thank you very much. That's very good. Then to me, don't have to waste my time on the social studies people. They are good. So why?
Hey, not
Look at
all
the
about it.
no, look at the way. Yeah. So why should I even waste my time with civilization? Huh?
Please, you have to.
Yeah.
You won't waste your time.
Um.
You appreciate what you are. Thank you.
And anyway, so we had Patience and yeah, what she said about the culture of where she comes from. That's the area. Now, so as we heard from her, it meant that, or it means that culture is a way of life. So the way of life. In other words, this in this case, she informed us about the food, their staple food and all that, and then their language, their festival, their dance, and what have you. Okay, yeah. So that is the way of life of the Ewa people. So, for example, the food they eat, language, mode of dressing, festivals, etc. Now, this is culture. When culture reaches its zenith or height, the moment you begin to see certain compressed elements in the way of life of the group of people, of a group of people, we can no more use culture to describe such a situation because it has gone beyond a mere culture. This time, we term it civilization. So that's why we say civilization refers to the state of having an advanced level of social development and a comfortable way of life. I believe that in the past 50 years, when you go to Ho or Hohoi or any of the towns or cities in Ewe, you see that there is a significant change. Now villages had swelled, in other words, had grown to cities and so forth. So you can see some complex buildings, some fantastic structures. You can see a lot division of labor churches and all that. So you see that now you see certain complex activities. So, for example, you see many things, as I said. So, in this situation, we cannot say that it's a culture, a way of life. No, it has gone beyond that one. So, we say that it is a complex culture. So, civilization is a complex culture in which large numbers of human beings share a number of common elements. Have many people sharing a number of common elements. It can also be described as culture that has attained a degree of complexity. The moment we see certain sophisticated elements in the way of life of a group of people, then you don't say it's culture, you don't use culture. Culture is not apt, APT, but rather the appropriate word or term is civilization. Okay, so example, it should contain specialists to deal with political, social, and religious needs of the people. It should have a system of writing. It should produce monumental architecture. You see now, when you move across Ghana, okay, you will see in Accra, some of the, if you have not been to Accra before, you go there for the first time. If you don't take care, you open your map and you'll be looking at certain complex buildings and structures. If you don't take care, you'll be knocked down by a car. Okay, so you see such architecture and you look at the design, the thinking behind, and the engineering technology. So you appreciate so much. That is why we look at Egypt and say that Egypt was the cradle of civilization. If you look at the Egyptian pyramids at the time, that they were able to place one stone on top of another without mortar. If you look at how huge the pyramids were, especially the pyramid of Giza or the Great Pyramid, then it tells you a lot. It tells you a lot. So as I said, we should have religion, we should have a writing. So if you don't, that is why you see, that I want you to just revive this with you, because as we see, we are going to look at colonial views on West African history, where the Europeans will say that some of the Eurocentric writers or European scholars will say that Africa did not have history because they did not have we had not invented a form of writing. And that's why I want you to see the elements that we should expect to see that whether a group change the state of civilization or not. So as I said, you should have a system of writing, should produce monumental architecture, and should produce arts which reflect people and their way of life and their activities. So in short, without boring you and without wasting time, a civilization is a complex, highly organized social order. At first, when you wanted to move from one village to another or one town to another, you had to trek or walk. But now, do you walk? Cars are available. We have a lot of even this tricycles, pragia and abubuya and so forth. And now, so movement for say from one city to the other, from say Kumasi to Accra. So you have to decide on the vehicle, the car that you want to go with. Yeah, if you, yeah, so you will decide. But I said this option was not there. You never have this option. You walking from Kumasi to buy salt in Accra in the coast. It wasn't easy at all. So I think we are giving you an idea. But let us quickly look at certain elements or characteristics of civilization before I just close docket on civilization and then we proceed to look at the colonial view on African history. Now, characteristics or elements of civilization. Historians have identified six basic characteristics or elements of civilization. One is that, so I'm just going to, after this, I will ask individuals whether your area where you come from, you have attained the status of civilization or you are yet to have. Now, one, historians have identified six basic elements or characteristics of civilization. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, George, we can hear you
Yes,
now.
please.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So as I was saying, historians have identified six basic characteristics or elements of civilization, and I want to walk you through these six characteristics, or in other words, elements of civilization. One is cities. So before you can find out whether a group of people, yeah, whether they have attained this or not, at least.
Hello, Doc, we can hear you.
You should sing.
I think it's
You
it's
rest.
his network. I think it's the network.
So Obi prompt tonight. Obi prompt tonight.
The bonus answer, I say him. I'm sure he has seen it himself. But well, I'm sure Anita will do that. Don't worry. Sure.
By now, he's talking to the air, so let's prompt him,
Yes,
please.
until as early as possible. We
No,
prompt
he
him.
left.
Uh,
He will see that. I think the line has cut. He will see. If he's still on and he's talking many a times, that's when maybe he has not realized that we are not hearing. But when he's off, he knows he's off. So let's hold on a little.
Okay, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You are with me? Hey, and they can't hear me.
We can hear
Yes,
you
sir,
now.
we can hear
You
you.
Yes,
are
sir.
you
Now.
are
We
in
are with
again.
you.
Okay,
Sir, please, you
thank you
were
very
off.
much. If
Now
you
that
can
you
hear me, then that's good. Yeah, so as I said, cities. So one of the elements of civilization is that the people should have cities, or in other words, say urban focus. They should have cities. So if you are again Dangwe, so look at where you are, the Ghana where they are. If they are in Accra, is Accra a city? So do they have cities among themselves? So yeah, so urban focus. So you see that when you look at this one, so you should be able to meet this criteria, some of these criteria, and I'm taking you through. So you should have cities or urban focus. Then you should have government system. So you should have government system where things are there's order, law and order, and so on and so forth. So you should have a system of government where we have where there's law and there are laws and order to regulate the conduct of the people within that place. Then there should be social structure. There should be social. Another one, third one, social. As the first one, cities or urban focus. Second one, government. Third one, social structure. So we should have people who occupy the top of the hierarchy or the social class. So we should have social classes or social order, where we have maybe government officials, kings, priests occupying the top. Then you come to the middle class where you have doctors, teachers, and farmers, all of them there. Then you come to the bottom, so you have the social class. In ancient Egypt, for example, so the Pharaoh occupied the top. So we had the Pharaoh who occupied the top, and then others. So yeah, so that is social structure. Then writing should have writing, should be able to evolve, or in other words, yeah, evolve an art of writing. So you should have an art of writing. And religion to give them meaning in life. Religion is everywhere where people who are, yeah, people feel okay, they feel so satisfied because they know people look at their present condition and they are happy that, yeah, they will have future, better life ahead, maybe, yeah, in the next world anyway. So religion should also give them meaning in life and so on and so forth. And they should have arts, yeah, that should reflect their way of life and all that. So in each civilization, a significant part of the population live in cities, I think, and then they also, as I said, they have government. So governments are organized governments, or governments organize armies to protect the people and make laws to regulate their lives. All civilizations develop religion to explain their wealth. Priests perform rituals to praise gods and goddesses. Rulers claim that the gods have given them power to rule. So some rulers even claim that they claim to be gods. In ancient Egypt, for example, the pharaoh was considered as god king, so God in the guise of man. And in other civilizations, so they were considered as divine. Yeah, even in our own Ghana here, some of the kings, especially some of the kings of the Akan, yeah, such as Asante Hene and some of them, Ochehene and Co, Ogama Hene, Kipkosa, some of them are considered as divine, and yeah, okay. So there, as I said, you should also have social structures developed in this civilization, these social classes. So we have those in the upper class, so where we have rulers, kings, and queens, government officials, and warriors. Then the middle class, where you have teachers, artisans, fishermen, craftsmen, doctors, farmers, etc. And we have the bottom of the class, the lower class, where you have slaves who normally occupy the bottom of the ladder. Rulers, priests, and merchants use writing. So writing was another characteristic of these civilizations, where the rulers, the priests, and merchants, they use writing to keep records. And writing also became a creative expression. A creative expression. Now, arts, people began to build temples as places of worship and sacrifice. In Mesopotamia, they built the ziggurat. The ziggurat. So this was a magnificent structure and temple. Yeah, temple. That, yeah. So that was the ziggurat, and Egyptians had the pyramids. The pyramids that, yeah, where the pharaohs were buried. Okay. pyramids. And in Azum, yeah, they had the stelae or the giant obelisks. In Azum, they had that. Okay. So I think that is that with the meaning of civilization and its characteristics. Any questions so far? Hello. Any
Hello.
question? If anyone has a question on what you have discussed, this is time that you can you can ask your question. Hello.
Hello, Doc.
Yeah. Any question?
Look, I think
Please,
there's
I
no
think
question.
there are no questions at the moment. You can carry on
They said
so
there are
that we
no.
ask the questions later.
Hello, Doc. Hello, Doc. Good
Yes.
morning.
Morning.
Please, yeah, with the element, you made mention of art. That art is one of the elements of civilization. Kindly
Yeah.
throw
Yeah.
a
Art and architecture.
small light
Yeah.
on it. Uh,
I throw more light
I
on
need
the
a
art and
clear.
architecture.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so we are talking about arts for architecture. I think I did explain. Yeah, so visual arts, for example, as we shall see, where we are going to see, we will come across the Sahara Desert and we want to know. So the Sahara Desert. So you will see that inscriptions drawn on, for example, you come across a ladder. What does the ladder demonstrate to you? It's telling you, and this is a philosophical way that the people the ladder tells you that death is inevitable. You come across a bird with its head turned backwards, then you can go back. You can go back. So you don't say that when I say something, it's just fine, fine. No, you see, these are philosophical ways, and so it's linked with our architecture, and so the designs and the impressive buildings and the writings on them that show. You see, when you enter a place and you see what do you call it, an elephant stepping into a trap, it tells you the power of the chiefs that or the king that when the king steps on a trap, it's easy to function. So there will be a case and the king will say, "I know I put my hand on it, my foot on it," and that ends it. So you will see these are some of the proverbial the philosophical ways in which they express their deepest philosophical thought. And if you are an alien, you will find it extremely difficult to understand. So art and architecture are actually relevant in the context of what we are talking about or what we are doing. You come across two people, one fat and still eating, and one also very thin or slim and is sitting by, very hungry. It tells you that, yeah. And so if you did not come from the royal family, how could you become a king? It's not that you are beautiful or you are highly educated. No, 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 no. So these are some of the things, and we link that one to architecture as an architecture. So you have that one. Now we know that the Sahara Desert was not as it is now. It wasn't a desert as we have because it used to have aquatic animals. How did they come to life? So visual arts, arts are very important. Okay, so I don't know whether you are clear with
Yes, please. I'm okay. Thank you very much.
the response. Any other topic, the elements of civilization, these elements. And moving on to the second topic, which is colonial views on African history. Now, this is very important, so I want you to take note. So, according to the Europeans, and you know that the Europeans they look down on Africa and our culture, and don't feel that we were inferior, and that's why even nowadays racism and all that are there. When you go to you go to UK, you go to US, and even when they look at your color, and even in the train, they don't want to sit by you. So they did not just start. So it just started a long time. Now, according to the Europeans and precisely the Eurocentric writers, that European writers, and I can mention some of them. Frederick Hegel, he was a professor, full professor. A.P. Newton was a full professor. Trevor Roper was also a full professor, and even C.J. Seligman. According to these professors, who they had attained higher education. Now, according to them, the people of Africa did not have history before their interaction and subsequent colonization by the Europeans. So they were of the view that the colonialism should be celebrated because it was through that Africans became civilized. And without Africans coming into contact with the Europeans, that's what it means. Now, colonialism was carried out by the Europeans.
Madam Love, please off your Madam Love, please.
Was under the view today without issue. And as you after this or you buy this conversation that Africa had no history and therefore the Africans were people without history. Do you agree to this?
No, sir.
Love, do you agree to this? Love?
Yes, please.
Hey, Love, you agree that you did not have are you an African?
No, sir. Sir, no, sir.
Love, are you an African?
Sir, please,
Love,
because
talk,
she was
talk.
talking to my children, she didn't hear
Yes,
it.
she didn't hear
Because she
your
was
question.
talking to my children, she didn't
Yes,
hear it. She just responded yes. She didn't even know what she was talking about.
Sir,
yes.
please. I don't know what you are talking about, please. Can you repeat for me?
And when I ask you, can you hear me? You will say I can hear me. And if you tell me that, then I'm getting the impression that I cannot hear me. So is that the case that I cannot hear me?
Can you hear
Hello,
you?
all of you can
No,
hear
sir.
me.
No,
Yes,
sir. No,
please.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, please, I can't hear you well.
Hello,
Sir,
hello.
Hello,
sir.
sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you
Hello,
hear me?
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
please. We can hear you.
Loud and clear, sir.
We can hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me like so. Okay, if you can hear me, can I go on?
Yes, sir.
Isn't the volume is very
Yes, sir.
low? Can these people hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Please,
Then
please,
since you say you can hear me, I'll go ahead. So according to the imperial historiography, and according to this historiography, Africa had no history, and therefore the African were people without history. And these Eurocentric writers propagated the image of Africa as that continent. They propagated the image of Africa as that continent. Any historical process in the content was explained as the work of outsiders. So any better thing that they saw, they attributed them to the work of outsiders. Yeah, that this one Africans would not have done that, and perhaps outsiders were responsible. Okay, so any historical process I've said in Africa was explained as the work of outsiders, whether this be the mythical Hamites or whatever. And hence the Hamitic hypothesis that those of you who are Christians and those who are conversant with the story of the sons of Noah, the sons of Noah in the Bible. So do you have any Christian here to tell us the sons of Noah and the story in connection with the sons of Noah, and one of them was cursed? Yes, who? Yeah, hello.
Doc, please, Evans Osei can help us with that. Noah and his sons. Evans Osei.
Okay, Evans, go on. Evans, can you go on?
Oh, Evans, talk.
Madam Anita's hand is up.
Nanata Pukweki.
Evans, can you go on?
Nanata Pukweki.
Madam Anita's hand is up. Maybe if you can help us with it.
Okay, Abigail, Abby, can we have seen your hand up. Abby, can you tell us?
Yes, please.
Okay,
I want,
Abby, we are here listening to you.
I want to contribute.
Yeah, Abby,
So,
go ahead.
yeah, Noah had 3 sons named Ham, Shem, and Japheth.
Okay.
So, yeah, Shem was the eldest, and Ham was the youngest. But
Okay.
then, yes, when God ordered Noah to build the ark, later God flooded the whole country with water. Later on, when the water drained, he let them out. But then Noah got drunk and was naked. So his youngest son, Ham, went, and then when he saw his father's nakedness, burst into laughter and told him to praise God. So Shem and Japheth were sorry why his father was naked. So they went and picked the cloth, washed his father with covered father's nakedness.
Mr.
So when
Harriet, can you kindly look for us?
Please, some people should mute yourself.
he told his youngest son his
Say
nakedness.
why one kasa also I will the kum
Sorry, I'm
you and yes
Harriet,
ban
please.
Madam Abigail, you can hardly hear you because no one is mic is on.
What kind of interview? What I was on?
Oh, please let us respect ourselves and mute. Oh,
Madam Harriet, kindly mute.
Come on. Yeah, right.
Hello. Hello.
Madam Harriet,
Hello,
mute
sir.
yourself.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Come.
It's like you know with the phone.
Come on, where?
Hello. Hello. Please, we are plenty in the meeting and we should, as much as possible, try to mute our mic, not to disturb class, please. Madam Harriet, please mute your mic.
Yeah, hello.
And please, if somebody's mic is on, all of us shouldn't come in to tell the person to mute, because if you do that, we'll rather be disturbing the class. We should allow Doc to control the class. We shouldn't unmute to tell people to mute. Doc will do that so that there will be a kind of thing, discipline in the class, please. Nobody should tell anybody to mute.
Okay. Thank you
Doc
very
will
much,
do
Anita.
that.
Thank you very much, Anita. Please, once again, you see, online class, or because technology has come to stay. And let me say that I'm begging you. You see, as soon as you join, you mute. It's very, very important. Kindly mute so that you can have a very fruitful discussions. If you don't mute, others will not hear. Okay, even though I'll give you the slides and everything, it's better that you because I explain a lot, I add a lot to the slides. The slides are just collector presentation, but then we add a lot and cite examples and so forth. So if you don't listen, and especially the objectives, the multiple choice that you answer, you see. So I'm begging you, everybody should put it on mute. And that one, when the class is good, I know those are thoughts. Those who did Ottoman of Africa. There were many, almost 500. I'm now marking their scripts. They're almost 500, but they are. We see that the class was good. I really enjoyed that class. So I want that this one we should also have same. I beg you. Now, as I said, yeah. So now, so the one who start on the sons of Noah, who was cursed? Which of the sons was cursed?
Doc, this is Peter. I think it was the grandson of Noah who was cursed. It was called Cain.
No,
Canaan.
no, 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 no. The Christians are they not here? Hey, so all the people here don't
Doc,
have even one Christian.
we are here, sir. It is the last born
The
who will be
Christians talk,
cursed.
oh, please, we beg you, talk. Noah
Hello,
had three
sir.
sons and not grandsons,
Hello,
sons.
sir. It is the last born who was
But we
cursed.
are
Same,
in church. That is
same,
why we are in church.
Japheth and Ham. So the Christians, tell us the
Ham
story, we
and
beg you.
Shem. So Ham was cursed. Hello, sir.
Hello, Doc.
Yeah. Show by hand. So
What
whose
is said
hand is up? Hussein, do you want to talk? Okay, now Selena is
Yes,
here.
Doc.
Selena, can we hear you?
Yes, sir. Please, it was the
Yeah,
last
Selena.
of Noah who was cursed because he went and witnessed the nakedness of his father and came to tell the other brothers that come and see our daddy. He has gotten intoxicated and his nakedness is there. Come and see how your daddy is framed. And so the elder son got angry and then went backwards so that he will not even see the nakedness. And then he took a cover cloth. As he entered the room, he entered backwards. So he was facing outside whilst his back entered the room. And then he went and covered the daddy with the cloth. So when Noah was up and then he realized what has happened, he cursed the lastborn and then blessed the eldest son. That was what happened. Thank you.
Excellent. So what was the
He
name of
was
the last
Ham.
one? Okay, Ham. So do you believe that the Europeans are saying the Africans are descendants of Ham? Do you believe that?
Sir, I don't believe that.
These Europeans are saying that
Sir, as for that one,
Ham was cursed and that he was.
sir, I don't believe that one.
But Doc.
So far, the others will say it will say hence the Hermetic hypothesis. Nothing good could come from Africa. African people were at first, even if you look at the time that the Europeans came to explore West Africa, they were of the view that even West Africa, the sun was as hot that the bottomless. So it was a lot they wanted to come and see. Hi. And they were of the view that the law of gravity, Africa did not have. I don't want to go to these issues anyway. I don't want to remember some of these things. But that as it may, they felt that Africans were the descendants of Ham, hence Hermetic hypothesis. And is there any story about is it Cain and Abel or Habel? Is it Cain and Abel? Is there any story that the Christian? Do you have any story about Cain and Abel or Habel?
Yeah, it's Abel.
Sir, that one too, it was Cain and Abel. And according to the script in the Holy Books, it says that they had a yearly offering that they offered to God. So it was believed that whatever that you find your hands doing, you will use that products or that one that you are engaged in to offer the sacrifice, a yearly sacrifice. So according to the text, it was mentioned that Cain was a farmer, and then Abel was rearing animals. So when it got to the hello,
Yeah, go on.
please, somebody was talking.
Yeah, so everybody should mute. Please, Selena, can they go on?
Okay, so when it got to the time for them to make the yearly sacrifice, Cain just brought things that was not appealing to the sight of God. In fact, the ones that he brought to make the sacrifice, he himself, it wasn't from his heart. It wasn't something that he offered out of a humble sacrifice or something that got into him. But according to the text, Abel made a sacrifice that was appealing to the sight of God. And so when they made the sacrifice, it was a burnt offering. So when you burn your items and the smoke doesn't go upwards and then reach high, as it will be a showcase of being appealing to the sight of God, then it means your sacrifice has not been taken. So after the thing has been done, Cain realized that of Abel's sacrifice, the smoke went upwards, and so it means God has accepted it. And truly, they had that revelation, or they had that witness that God has really appreciated what Abel has done. So Cain began harboring some kind of hatred against his brother, and out of that, he decided to eliminate his brother. He killed his brother. And after he has done this heinous act of crime, God cursed him. God told him, because you have done this, all your descendants are cursed. In fact, all your descendants are cursed. So he wandered about, and everything that he does was not successful. That is what I have read, and that is what I have been taught. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that is excellent. So, Selena, which center are you?
Sir, please, I'm in Sunyani.
So you're doing so yesterday, eh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I like that. Good. Okay, okay. Did you do early West African politics? Did you do Ottoman of Africa?
Yeah. So your last video, Ottoman, we really enjoyed it, and so I promised myself I'll delve deeper into it. I'm going to enjoy this one too.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Because
Thank
you
you.
have seen that you are eight. So I this one I have to search for your addition, and then whatever you get, I have to push the system out so that whatever you do, you have to get A. Because what you have said, you are A, and I mean I give A in class when I'm teaching. My students are at the university,
Hey, then I have to talk.
both UCC and Legon. Both
Hello,
UCC
sir.
and Legon, I give A in class. So if you contribute well, I
Hello,
see that
sir.
you are A, and the assessment I write A there.
Hey, then I have
So
to
you
talk.
saying that you are A, but this one, because all the assessment will not pass through my hands, because the 2020 you do is in the system and it will go to Code Street. But the script, they will bring it to me to mark, and I have to add mass to your mass. And you have impressed me so much that you have
I
to
said,
get
thank you
your
very
A.
much.
Ah,
And I
That's
promise you, I'm
okay.
going
Thank
to
you very
hello,
much.
sir.
in fact, in the
Thank
Ottoman,
you very much.
I know
Hello,
I
sir.
did well. In the Ottoman, I know I did well. And in this one too, I'm going to do well. I will learn hard. I will read further. I'm going
That's
to
right.
do all the information that I have to put across. Say I will do it. Thank you.
You have my number. Later, send you this details to me. I will check the Ottoman. What
Thank
you had,
you
I will
very
check.
much, sir. Yeah, I will send
Hello,
you, and
sir.
then you see.
Yeah. Hello.
Sir,
Yes.
sorry, I want to chip in this. My sister started with the introduction that Cain and Abel, during their time, there was annual sacrifices they do. I also read something a bit different. The reason for the sacrifice. I read that when Adam and Eve started giving birth, they were twins. So Cain came with his female twin
Uh,
partner, and
mhm,
then
mhm.
Abel also came with his female twin partner. So for them not to do what we call incest, because during that time there wasn't any generational, let's say, being. So they should do cross marriage. Cain should rather marry Abel's twin sister, then Abel will also marry Cain's twin sister. So Cain refused. He said he will not do that. He liked his own partner. So there an instruction came from above through their father that they should offer sacrifice. Whoever has his sacrifice accepted, then his decision will be what? Held. So during that time, as my sister just said, Cain was a farmer and Abel was a shepherd. So after they did the sacrifice, Abel's one was accepted. Then they did the cross marriage. During that time, the hatred grew. So Cain has to kill Abel. I think that is what I've also read.
Mm,
Thank
okay.
you.
Okay. But the most important thing here, but I think that Christians will tell that initially, I don't think initially.
Sir, please. Sir,
This one
please.
is not biblical.
Sir,
This
please.
one is not biblical.
Sir, please. Sir, please.
Sir,
And
please.
even initially, incest wasn't a serious issue because the beginnings,
Hey, now,
if you look at even Lot, the Christian would tell that Lot, uh, his daughters, they were two. They slept with Lot. Their father, because they were only together. The mother was dead, and after the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, so Lot and his two daughters were spared, and what they did, so they managed, each of them managed to sleep with their father. And so I think we are not going there. The most important thing is that Cain was cursed. Was it that in all the stories we have Cain being cursed? Do you have Cain being cursed in all the stories?
Yes, please.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
at the end.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes, please.
Cain was
sir,
cursed,
please, can I come
and
in?
Abel was blessed. Is that it? Is that not it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's it.
So the Europeans are saying that the scientific critics are saying that Africans were Cain. Cain. So you see, it's giving us an idea that all the bad things were associated. No, they would associate them to Africans. So that means that all the bad things. So that Cain was cursed, and what do you Ham was also cursed. So Africa, nothing good could come from Africa, and that's why all the even impressive architecture, things that Africans did themselves, they attributed them to the work of outside. That foreign people might have come to live with these people, and they were responsible for all this impressive architecture and all that. You see? Okay. So I think we have had yeah. Now the Europeans, they were of the view that Africa had no history, and therefore the African were people without history. And so they propagated the image of Africa as dark continent. Any historical process in that continent was explained as the work of outsiders. And that's why I would say that they said that the mythical Hamites, and it's like a myth. When I say myth, they are half truths. So a story with half truth. For example, we say that once upon a time, God was very closer to man. And there was a woman who used to pan fufu, and would pan fufu, and the pistol will hit God, and God will move gradually. And the woman will add another mortar to it and would pound, and it will hit God, and God would move. And one day God became so annoyed and moved far, far, far. And that's so this is a myth. And there are aspects of oral tradition. So there are false stories and so and so forth. Okay. But be that as it may, let's see what Hegel, a professor, said, and in his philosophy of history. So Hegel, 1770 to 1831, stated the position very explicitly in his philosophy of history, which contains such statements as Africa is not a historical continent. It shows neither change nor development, and that is Negro people were capable of neither development nor education. As we see them today, so they have always been. Although Hegel's direct influence on the elaboration of African history may have been small, the view he represented became part of historical orthodoxy of the 19th century, and it's not even without its followers even today, people who are still of the view that Africa did not have history. Now, a recent professor of modern history at Oxford University once declared, perhaps in the future, there will be some African history to teach. But at present, there's none. There's only the history of the Europeans in Africa. The rest is darkness, and darkness is not a subject of history. Please do not misunderstand me. I do not deny that men existed even in dark countries and dark centuries, nor that they had political life and culture interesting to sociologists and anthropologists, but history, I believe, is essentially a form of movement, a purposive movement to it. Is not a mere phantasmagoria of changing shapes on costumes, of battles and conquests, dynasties and usurpation, social forms and social disintegration. He argued that history, or rather the study of history, has a purpose. We study it in order to discover how we have come to be where we are, and that the present world is so dominated by Western European ideas, techniques, and values that for the last 5 centuries, at least, insofar as the history of the world has significance, it is only the European history that counts. We cannot afford to amuse ourselves with the unrewarding gyrations of barbarous tribes in picturesque but irrelevant corners of the globe. Now, ironically enough, it was Hegel's own lifetime that the Europeans entered upon the effective modern scientific exploration of Africa, that they came to explore Africa. In other words, they came to Africa here. And so began to lay the foundations for a rational appraisal of the history and achievements of African societies. In part of this exploration was connected with the reaction against slavery and the slave trade, in part with the competition for African markets. Matters were made worse for the study of African history by the emergence at about this time, and especially in Germany, of a concept of the historian's craft. That was also another issue. But let's look at another professor, A.P. Newton, in 1923, said that, in fact, he gave a lecture to the Royal African Society in London on Africa in social research. And Professor A.P. Newton categorically said, and I'm quoting him, he said, Africa had no history before the coming of the Europeans. History only begins when men take to writing. And it was the view that Africa did not have an art of writing, hence Africans were people without history. In fact, Newton himself was somewhat on the fringe of the historical profession as it had emerged. Okay, even Seligman made matters worse. Let's look at what he said. Seligman, C.G. Seligman, now more profound or pervasive was the assertion by C.G. Seligman in his Races of Africa, first published in 1923. He pointed out the civilizations of Africa are the civilization of the Hamites. I was taking you through Ham and Hamites. You see somebody saying that the civilizations of Africa are the civilization of the Hamites. It's history, the record of these people, that's the record of the Hamites, the descendants of Ham, the one who was cursed by his father Noah, and of their interaction with the two other African stocks, the Negro and the Bushman. Look at referring to us as the Negro and the Bushman. How? So by inference, these two other African stocks are inferior, and any advances in civilization they have made are due to the extent to which they have been subject to Hamitic influence, hence the Hamitic hypothesis. But there is really no historical evidence whatsoever to support the generalization that the civilizations of Africa are the civilizations of the Hamites, or historical progress made in sub-Saharan Africa has been due to them alone. No. Okay, so that is it. Now, so this is what the Europeans are saying. How do you debunk this claim by the Europeans that Africa did not have history? So you can show by hand if you want to tell us anything that you want to dwell on it to debunk
Sir, please.
the assertion by Europeans that Africa did not have history.
Sir,
Yeah,
please, my
so
hand is up.
yeah, can
Sir,
we go
please,
to
my
Peter?
hand is up.
Selena, you have you've talked. Those who have not talked. Now can we go to Peter Redu?
Sir, Doc, that is Peter Redu. I would debunk the Europeans' ideology about Africa not having a civilization, because when you look at the civilization of the Pharaonic Egypt, Egypt is part of Africa, and the people there were black people, the whole of continent of Africa, and even the when you talk about the Old Testament part of the Bible, the people there, their culture, the culture in the Bible depicts the black people's culture. So the Europeans do not have that kind of culture. So they made it out of hatred that these people are having all these things, and therefore they have to make sure that we look inferior. So therefore they have to, so that when we look inferior, when you look inferior upon ourselves, we will they will be able to colonize us. So one Lord Macaulay came to Africa and did all the survey about Africa and learned what we are capable of doing, and went back to Britain Parliament and told them that this is what Africa is capable of doing. And when we are able to invade them with our education, our culture, they will feel inferior upon themselves, and therefore they will submit to us so that we colonize them. This is what Lord Macaulay said in 1888. I can quote for that. February 1888, he did that. And this is what they have made us to look upon. And from then, Africa have looked upon themselves as non-entity. And we can't do anything for ourselves unless Europeans help us. And we can testify through after the colonization, we left everything for them to continue to colonize us, even if they are not here in Africa. And we are capable. We are the God-chosen one. We were created. So when you talk of people who were created in the Bible, they are the black people. And a lot. When you read from
So,
Babylon
so
to
are you
Timbuktu,
saying that the white people, where did they come from? Did they come from the sky or they came from the ground? They were not created. Are you saying
yeah,
that they were not created?
yes, I will prove that. When you go to Second Kings, there Gehazi, he went to accept an offer from Naaman, a soldier who was having a type of sickness called leprosy. And leprosy is not about the hands being taken off or the leg. It was a skin disease. So this leprosy was referred to Gehazi through Elisha, and it affected all his descendants throughout his generations. And these people couldn't stand the heat at the Africa or the Israel land, so they moved to where they will have a conducive environment to stay there. So this is one of the greatest history there that we, the Africans, we don't even know, because they've made that to look down upon ourselves, that we are not anybody. That's why they'll continue to prove to us that we are not created. But when you look at the foundation of the white people, you see they don't have culture. When you talk of culture, manners, they don't even have. But when you come to Africa, we have all these things, and culture is that the manners, how you do your things, the way you do your things, and it moves on to become a civilization. So when you look at the Pharaonic Egypt, they develop writings called hieroglyphics. So can they tell us that this writing was not done because we had some of the Greek coming to learn in Africa? We did geographic thoughts, and it was there. The Greeks were coming to learn. So-called great historian Herodotus, they were all coming to Africa in Egypt to learn. So we can debunk them, but just that we don't have the platform. So thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you for your submission. Did I see Florence hand up?
Yes, sir.
Florence, did I see your hand up? We are very grateful
Yes.
to Peter. Florence, can you go on? I saw your hand up. If you really raise your hand, can you make your submission?
Yes.
Otherwise, you
It's
move
just
on to.
something just more. I want to debunk this that education existed before the Europeans came. So they brought a formal education, but we have informal education. Parents taught their children the fishing, the carpentry, and all that, and that is a form of education. But they thought we didn't have education. That is what I want to debunk.
Okay, thank you very much. Can we also hear Anita?
Okay, thank you, Doc, for the opportunity. Talking about the issue of Ham, I researched and got to know that the descendants of Ham are the present day Ethiopia and Egypt. Some of the descendants of Ham are the present day Ethiopia and Egypt. And looking at Egypt, we all attest to the fact that world civilization started in Egypt. And even through the Ottoman course we did last semester, we got to know that one of the reasons for the French invasion in Egypt was to come and learn from the civilization of the Egyptians. Meaning, even before the whites came in, there was something that the Africans, for instance, the Egyptians have done that the whites came to study. And even with Dr. and Mrs. Leakey, these archaeologists, they said through the archaeological excavations, they discovered the first man, that is the Homo sapien, in the Oduba Gorge in somewhere Tanzania. So with all these proofs and evidence, we can say that Africa was civilized before the white man came, and even the white man even copied some of the things he's doing now or has done from the African civilization, especially from the Egyptian civilization. Thank you.
Okay, so I really appreciate all your submissions. Very good. Yeah. So okay. So I think that in exams, I'm giving you one essay question. No. If I ask you that the bank provide 4 reasons to debunk the view that Africa had history before the coming of the Europeans, I hope you can do it. I'm very simple for you, like what you are telling the thing you are telling me. Okay, so
Sir,
yeah,
please, the
I can
question
ask
again.
you that. Do you agree? I can put on quote.
Yes,
Africa did
you
not have
can do.
history before the coming of the Europeans. To what extent do you? And I will just ask you something simple, and you share this fantastic ideas that you are for. Okay, so this will dovetail into the sources of history. If we say that Africa had history, those of you who are trying to say that Africa had history, okay, then what are the sources available at the time for the reconstruction of African past? What are the sources? So now, so let's look at sources of history before we open the for Dauda and others to come in. Now, so we said that history comes from the Greek word histo. Those of you who did West civilization, we took you to that, which means learned man, histo. So histo, learned man. From histo emerged historia, which means inquiry, investigation, research, all that. Okay. Yeah, so historia, which means inquiry, investigation, research, and so on and so forth. Now, as I said, history is a systematic record of past human activities or action. So it's the study of important past events, places, and people. That was the Griffin. So that is it. Now, what are the sources of history? And when you say a source, what do you mean? A source is simply where information comes from. So if you want a source, if you say river source, those of you who did geography will tell us that where the river comes, where a river source is where it comes from, or where information is obtained. So a source is simply where information comes from or is obtained. And scholars use 2 types of sources: primary sources and secondary sources. Or those of you, when you go to the secondary school, they will tell you that they have documentary and non-documentary, written and non-written, and they will look at the relevant disciplines as well. But what is a primary source? A primary source is the testimony of an eyewitness. So someone who was present at the event of which he tells or describes, that person is that source is a primary source. Someone who was present at the event of which he tells or describes. For example, if you were You were telling something about the speech and prize giving day that you witnessed when you were at the senior high school, and that even you won a prize or you received an award or prize, and you are telling us how you felt. It's from so to that one we consider it as a primary source, or your own diary, what you wrote, what happened to you, maybe your first day at school, your first day at the university, or your first day at the senior high, and the things that yeah, everything that happened to you, you wrote it yourself. Okay, anyway, now that is a primary source. So someone who was present at the event of which he tells or describes. Then a secondary source is the testimony of anyone who is or was not an eyewitness, not present at the events he describes or tells. So, for example, if you go to someone who heard the thing, and the person tells you, and you write it, and it becomes a book. When I pick the book and I read it, when I pick the book that you have written is not a primary source. Why? Because you have added your own interpretations to it. You didn't just present what the person said, but you added certain things to it. You did the analysis and so on and so forth. And so we cannot say that it's a primary. It's a primary source. Now a secondary source. Now, a primary source must therefore have been produced by a contemporary of the events he describes or narrates. But of
Please,
course, we
Mr.
say that
Dauda, mute your microphone. Mr. Dauda, please.
It
Jennifer,
seems
mute.
there is a noise at the background that is preventing us from hearing what
Jennifer,
you are saying.
I'll give
Sir,
you time to ask questions. So if you can. Mhm.
no, I wasn't asking questions. It seems there is a noise at the background that is preventing us from hearing it well. So I wanted to prompt you.
Mr. George, your microphone, please. Mr. George.
Please, all those who are having a microphone on, uh can you mute? Yeah, so a historical work is considered scholarly and reliable according to the extent to which it is based on primary sources. And so the use of primary source is very fundamental and basic to historical research. And no historian is considered fully trained or competent to interpret who has not himself worked in primary sources. Primary sources are divided into two categories. You have they are the published and unpublished sources. The published sources are made up of material such as parliamentary and legislative assembly debates, reports of commissions of inquiries, whether public or institutional, which have been printed, diaries, memoirs, and even correspondence of statesmen and notable personalities that have also been printed. The unpublished sources consist mostly of manuscripts, whether official or unofficial. And these sources, ladies and gentlemen, rank very high among historians because these sources contain original information in the sense that the information is untampered with. Among such sources are we have cabinet minutes, official correspondence, diplomatic dispatches, administrative records, administrative records, the minutes of public boards and committees, the minutes of businesses, business and private organizations and business papers, personal notebooks, private memoranda kept by individuals. Now, all these are various types of documents which the historian consult for information in the writing of African history. Apart from the primary sources, researchers and historians make use of secondary sources. And these secondary sources are books written by historians. So that's what I was talking about, secondary sources. So books written by historians. Other secondary sources are articles in journals or periodicals, magazines, newspapers, and pamphlets. The secondary sources are used to broaden the background knowledge in the field of study. So those of you who will do, so after this switch, those of you, I would advise that you don't end up after switch. Don't say that that's the end of your education. No, you had opportunity. You can even do MSA online, PhD online, and become a doctor. Those of you who have age on their side, you see, when you graduate and you want to move to the higher level, college of education or university, you are welcome. We are suffering so many courses that we are teaching. We don't have many people to recruit. So you can further, at least, yeah, those of you who have worked, especially those in the basic schools, in the senior high, you can also proceed to assess at the university level. And especially, we have to train people who will take over from us when we leave the scene. And we don't prepare people who are those going to take over to lecture. Okay, so those of you who would actually do that, it will be better. You'll get to know some of these things I'm talking about, and you'll be required to read a lot, especially in the secondary sources, to broaden your background knowledge and have idea about what's done in the field, so that when you are working with the primary source, you can be able to actually confirm certain assertions or claims made by scholars, and at the same time, you can also refute some of them made by scholars once you are working with the primary sources. Okay, now, okay. So apart from this, let's look at the written sources. Now, Africa, north of the Sahara, was an integral part of Asian Mediterranean world, and those of medieval Islamic civilization during the Middle Ages. That is the medieval Islamic civilization, and therefore concerned to historians. Historians are actually interested in some of these issues. Now, mention can be made of the ancient Egyptians and their writings, like Peter was telling us. Yeah, ancient Egypt was among was among the earliest societies to evolve. In other words, to invent an art of writing when they invented the hieroglyphs and later the demotic and the hieratic. So Egypt was among and the Sumerians in Mesopotamia also had the cuneiform system of writing. They also invented the cuneiform system of writing. Now, as I was saying, the Egyptians had their hieroglyphics, the demotic and hieratic, and the cuneiform of Sumerians. Ancient accounts include scanty information from Herodotus. He did a lot of visits. In fact, Herodotus was a Greek historian, and he traveled a lot. In fact, even went to Egypt to look at the Great Pyramid, the Pyramid of Giza, and he was the one who wrote about the Greek and the Persian wars, and hence the Romans giving him the father of history because of the fantastic whether he dealt in details. The ancient accounts include kind of information that we had from Herodotus, the peripherals of the Eritrean Sea. This peripherals of the Eritrean Sea had the author we don't know. So if the author is an unknown Greek sailor, authored it, we don't know the name of the person. We also had the tarikhs of the Arabs, the tarikhs written by the Arabs. The best of these tarikhs were the Tarikh al-Sudan, Tarikh al-Fatash, and Kitab Gunja. Now, some of these well-known Arab writers are Masudi, al-Bakri, that is al-Bakri 1029, al-Idrisu 1154, and even Ibn Battuta. These Arab writers are famous for their accounts of the African history from the 9th to the 15th century. Perhaps the greatest of them all is Ibn Khaldun. Ibn Khaldun. Yeah, so Ibn Khaldun, 1332 to 1406, who is considered as the father of African history. So Ibn Khaldun is considered as the father of African history. Now, Ibn Khaldun's chief contribution is his first volume aimed at an analysis of historical events. Now, this volume, known as the Mukaddima or the Progimina, was based on his unique approach and original contribution, which became a masterpiece in literature on philosophy of history and sociology. And Abu Abdallah Muhammad ibn Battuta, also known as Shams ad-Din, was a medieval traveler. In fact, during the Middle Ages, he did a lot of travel and traveled across all Africa. He visited Mali, Kanimbonu, and even Swahili coast. Through his travels, he documented the history of the Sudanic empires of ancient Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. And these are relevant sources that we get information. Now, Al-Umari provided essential information about the African continent while he served as secretary to the Mamluk court of Egypt between 1340 and 1348. There are two important pieces of information we get from his writings. One of them is the information about the Hajj of the great Malian king. Yeah, so I said that. I was talking about some of his works. There are two important pieces of information we get from his writings. And I mentioned Mansa Musa's pilgrimage to Mecca, that's the heart of the great Marian king, Mansa Kankan Musa, the record. So he recorded that Mansa Musa they spent so much gold that Israel fell in Egypt. I think when we get to Mali, you would appreciate Mansa Musa's pilgrimage. And his brother Abubakar the second. Okay, so and so forth. Now, Leo Africanus, the Leo Africanus Arabic name was Al Hassan ibn Muhammad Al Wassan. Yeah, he was born in Granada in Moorish Spain, but was expelled along with his parents and thousands of other Moors by Ferdinand and Isabella in 1492. Now they settled in Fez, Morocco. Fez it was a capital in Morocco, and he traveled with his uncle on diplomatic missions as a teenager. He captured by Christian pirates and was sold as a slave to Pope Leo X. Now, during the time he worked for the Catholic Church administration as a slave, the Pope was impressed with his learning and freed him. He was baptized under the name Johann Leo de Messidai. Now, the Pope commissioned him to write in Italian the detailed survey of Africa. He also taught Arabic in Rome and wrote in Arabic a description of his journeys in Africa, which issued in Italian in 1526. Now, this book became the only source known to the Europeans about the interior of Africa. Other people who gave insights on African history included our own Ghanaians, Christian Carl Randolph, C.C. Randolph, who wrote the history of the Gold Coast and Ashanti and published it in 1895. Samuel Johnson of Nigeria Samuel Johnson also wrote the history of Yoruba. It was published in 1921. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the sources, both written and unwritten. In fact, apart from this, the relevant disciplines are there. The relevant disciplines. We have archaeology, linguistics, numismatics, ethnology or ethnography, musicology or ethnomusicology, zoology, art forms, and all these are things I don't have to bore you with this, but to give you these key issues. Okay, anyway. So these are some of the sources available for studying African history. And since we are going to do early West African politics, this is where we get information in an effort to reconstruct or in the reconstruction of West African history. Thank you very much. Questions on what we have done so far? Hello, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so if you have questions, you can ask. This is where I'm ending my lecture for today. I'm thinking, I don't know, we can still move ahead. I'm thinking, if all of you will agree with me, then it's likely next week I'm likely to attend a funeral, and it's closer to me, very, very close to me, and it's far. I had to travel. I will be in the car this time. I will not. I will be on the way, and it will be difficult for me to have this class. I don't know if it will sit well with you. Then all of us will agree on one day, like Wednesday. Wednesday. So say from 5 p.m. if it will sit well with all of you. So this is a plea. If it will sit well for only next week, then we will not meet on the Sunday. And then because I will be traveling for that funeral. So that coming Wednesday, evening 5, I don't know whether 5, all the teachers might have closed, and that we can meet from 5 at maybe 7 or 7:30 or 8. 7. 7, yeah, 30th day.
Agreed.
So if it will
Agreed.
sit well
Well
with me,
noted.
then it means that instead of we meeting on next week Sunday because I will travel, then you do me favor, all of you. This is not force, please. Um, yeah, if you buy into that, fine. If you say no, then maybe when I get there, I have to find a place and maybe use my phone, whatever, to find some place to stand in. But in the car, it will not be good. Sometimes the internet will not be stable when I'm in the car and I'm having online. So it will cut and you reach at a certain point and you see that there will be no internet there and it will, you see that light will be breaking. You can't hear, the student cannot hear you well, a lot of issues. So I don't know what you have to say with respect to that. But don't for be that as it may, we are on course. We shall even, yeah, we'll finish early because now we have done 2 main topics. Let me see how many topics are we. We have done 2 topics. Let me see how many topics are we. And can what's the course outline again?
Doc, agreed.
Hello, Doc.
Wednesday will be okay. Fine. Okay.
Hello, Doc.
Doc, it's
Yeah, hello.
agreed. Wednesday, 5 p.m. It's agreed.
Hello, Doc.
Okay.
Please. Hello,
Yeah.
Doc.
So
Please. If not that you are tired, I was suggesting we should do it this evening. Then you'll be free for the whole week.
okay. So this evening, what time will it suit you?
Sir, let's make it next week. Wednesday is okay.
Yeah, this
Around
evening,
five,
this
around
evening.
5 o'clock.
I think
No, why did
Wednesday is
you
fine.
have some
Wednesday
suggestion?
is fine,
So
Doc.
Wednesday will
No,
be
no,
okay.
Please.
Wednesday is fine.
Wednesday is okay. Wednesday is okay.
Okay, okay. Now I think we are going to look at 6 main topics. So we have done 2. The next we are going to look at the land and people of West Africa. When the internet comes, when it comes, I will put these 2 on. These are just simple things, but it is the land and people and the 4 that is loaded. Ghana, Mary, Songa is loaded, but this is not going to be very, very simple. I'm not going to be difficult at all. I mean, I don't make my lecture so difficult for my students because one, I know that they are working and at the same time they are doing it. It's not easy. Many of them are parents. They are combining a lot. You see, and at the same time they are working. They come home. They have to. So we shall see. So
Oh, God bless you. God bless
because
you.
of that, all the questions that I was said will come from my slide. What I'll give you. All the questions will come from what I give you. So if you don't learn the slide, the objective multiple choice, everything will come from my slides. Let me tell you from the beginning. Thank you very
God
much.
bless you, Doc. God bless you.
Thank you so very much, Doc. We are most grateful. Thank you.
Allah, 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 Allah.
Okay, I think so.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor.
On that note, we can end our lecture here. And as you have agreed, God willing. So Anita, you have to keep reminding me so I don't forget.
Okay, please. And God richly bless you. We really
Okay.
enjoyed today's lecture.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
bless you too. Dauda,
See you on
I've seen
Wednesday.
your hand up.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Forget about
Dauda.
Daura. He refused to mute himself and was making noise. Forget about him.
Okay, thank you very much. And I wish you all the best. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye bye.
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 Hello, colleagues. Please, about the group. Yesterday, Mr. Patrick told us to create a group. What? How fast? How far, please? Let us know. Some of us, we don't know what's going on. Has he shared his
It
slide?
has been
Can
created,
you help us?
Sir Pages. It has been created, and I posted it in our class page. So check on the link and join. He said he will send us slides, but then he hasn't yet. So
Okay,
Please, Madam
thank you.
Anita, please can they create a group for this for us? Madam
I
Anita,
I think there is a group for this one too.
there is a group.
Yes. So I will check and send the link. So.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, please.
Please,
Hello.
those doing social studies, the issue is there is only one official group for this particular doctor's
Yeah.
lectures for all his courses. And the group is titled Dr. Boate's World Civilization. He has been on that group. He asked me to create that group from the beginning of the program, and it is that group that he has used for all the courses. Though it is titled World Civilization, but he used that group for all the courses he teach with Switch. I have posted the group. I posted the group when you joined during Ottoman, but today people are accusing me that they don't know of that group, as if I am keeping that group to myself. Today I have posted it again. Those of you who have not joined,
Please,
please
where
join
did you
before
post it?
you
Where
come
did
back
you
to
post
accuse
it?
me another
Please,
day.
where did you post it? Because we have not seen anything.
Where did you?
I posted the group is there.
Go to the message
Go there
section.
and join. Click on the link and join. And don't come and because me, I don't do social studies. So I'm not on any of the social studies platforms. It is only here that you can see me, those doing social studies. And
Please,
I
have you
have
posted?
posted
Where
the
have you
group
posted it,
here.
madam? Where have you posted it?
Go to the message section. Go to the
I
message.
can't see it. I'm
You
there.
see
Can
the
you
group
post it
there.
again? We can't
During
see it.
Ottoman, I posted.
Please post it here again. I can't see it.
During Ottoman, I posted.
Please, Ottoman is part.
Hello,
Post it
hello,
here again. Let us see. We
madam.
beg you.
Please,
Ottoman is part.
we beg
Post it
you.
here right now.
Repost it
We
for
want to
us.
see.
We beg
Repost
you.
it for us.
We beg you. Repost it for us.
Anita, thank you very much for supporting us this one.
Hello. Hello, Tibla. Tibla.
Hello.
Tibla.
Please, we can't hear that language. Can you convert it to us?
John Tibla. Hello.
Oh, hi.
Tibla.
Please talk where he will hear you.
Please, I posted it again. So those of you who have not joined, join. I'm not on any of your platforms. This is where I can post it. I have posted it. So please join.
Madam Anita, it requires administrator to accept your request before you be able
Yeah.
to enter.
Yeah.
I don't think Madam Anita is still here.
Okay, Madam Anita, thank you. We have seen it. Thank you very much.
It requires administrator's approval.
Hello, colleagues. Please, another one. Yesterday's morning, our lecture didn't come off. I want to find out, is there any update? Thank you.
Yeah, hello.
Hello? Hello?
I beg, has the class come to an end?
Oh yes, long time.
muted their phone and they are just like, Harriet, quote the I know you and then Harriet quote